Hello, how we doing today, everybody? Legit Vocals back here with our next video and deck list for decks that we're going to see at LCQ/Nationals. Today, we're going to be going over Yellow Evangelion, or as otherwise known as Yellow Girls, as some of us call it in the community. Overall, whatever you end up calling it, is a very good deck. And here is the deck list, and let's talk about some matchups. Alright, so for a standard deck list of what I am looking at and what I am playing, because we did lose the 0-drop Asuka, I put the 0-drop Masatos into play over it, and because we lost the Asuka, I did put a Draw Trash Mari in to kind of help with our filtering. But overall, let's go over the cards. 0-drop Masato, this is a 0-drop 500 with a get trigger, but activate main, you can switch this to resting, sideline this character, set one other yellow character in your field active. This is good for late game if you get it off a get trigger and play it. And then you can play one of these from your hand, sack your Masato, stand these active, immediately get the pressure out of the cards, mostly well paired with the 4-drop Mari, and we'll get to the reason why when we get to the Mari. Next 0-drop is a 4-drop Mari draw trigger, just to help filter, and it is a 2k body. Now we're playing from the starter deck pack that is in the back of the starter decks. We are playing the 0-drop Ray, which is win sideline, draw a card, also a get trigger. Then we are playing 3 1-drop Ray. This is during your turn. If you play a character of get ability, it's plus 1,000, so it becomes a 3k. Also a draw trigger. It is a Ray as well. You'll understand why these Rays are important in a little bit. 1-drop Mari. This is our searcher for the deck. When played, you get a top 4 for a character of get trigger. So you can get our Masato, our Ray, our other Masato, and then all of our 4 drops. And then you discard a card. It happens to also be our color trigger. Then we're going to be playing 4 of the 2-cost Ray Amari, which is a 2-drop 3k nullify impact. When played, you can choose one character on your field. It gets plus 1,000 until the end of turn. So you can buff this itself, making it a 4k, or you can buff one of your other bodies to make numbers a little bit better in your side. Now, because we did lose some of the filter in our draws, I am playing 2 of the starter deck Mari, so just like the same pack that this Ray comes in, you get one of these Maris. On play, draw a card, discard a card, and then activate main, you can tap it to resting, give a character plus 1,000 till end of turn. So this helps us turn this Ray into a 4k, turn this into a 3k, helps us in the numbers games a little bit, also helps with the filtering, that's why we were playing it. Now, probably 2 of the most important cards in the deck, a little bit. 3-drop Masato. This is our 3-drop 2k double energy. It has a get trigger, but it has this wonderful effect. During your opponent's turn, if you activate a get ability on a character card with fulfilled energy requirement, so if you have 4 energy, you can do your whole deck. You may play that card set to resting on your area instead. If you do, discard a card. You only activate this once each turn. A good thing about this card, say you have no cards in hand, you still get to play the body outs, and then you don't have to discard because you have no cards in hand. But overall, this lets us play cards, turns all these get triggers into like play triggers, and like if you hit the 4-2 Asuka, you don't even have to pay AP, you just get to play this body out, which is kind of good. Then we have 3-drop Asuka. This is when played, you may sideline one of your other characters. If you do sideline one of your characters, you get to choose one of the following: draw 2 cards, or draw 1 card and set one of your characters on your field, switch it to active. So this is good pressure, this is good card draw, you can kill a Ray, you can draw 3. Like overall, this is a very good double energy. Now the next 3 are like the bread and butter of the deck. So we have 4-drop Ray. When this character leaves the field due to a battle or by one of yours or your opponent's abilities, so if it ever leaves the board, there's only one way to really get this off the board without trading its effect, and we'll get to that in a second. You may place 1 card from your hand in a sideline, so discard a card. If you do, you get to play 1 yellow Ray with cost 2 or less required energy from your sideline set to active on your field. So you can play your 0-drop, your 1, or your 2. You can play all the other Rays that are in the list. The thing you can do with this is, like, say you put this on your front line, your opponent's like, oh, you have no Rays and trash. They kill it. Well, you can discard a Ray and then play that Ray, because the discard happens first, then you play a card. But this card is very good. The only way to remove this off of the board and not trigger its effect is to BP minus it, because if you BP minus it down to 0, that is state-based actions that is removing the card and not you, opponent's effect, or by battle. That's the only way to really get this. So if you're playing Willy, if you're playing Byakuya, like any of these decks that like minus ability, Toguro, like you can double minus 2k this, it won't get to play its body. Next, kind of the powerhouse of the deck, is going to be 4-2 Asuka. When played, switch this character to active, and then choose one of the following. Choose one character in your opponent's front line and switch it to resting, or if it's your turn, you may sideline one character on your field. If you do, choose one character with 5,000 or less BP on your opponent's front line and sideline it. Then, the next character that costs 2 or less than 1 AP from your hand would require 1 less AP. So it lets you free play anything that's not your 3. So you free play your 2 drops or less. So it lets you kill one of your own bodies, kill one of your opponent's things, and play out one of your cheap bodies. Also has this wonderful effect of activate main, discard 2 cards. It becomes a 5k with impact 1. Now, the next powerhouse, being Mari herself. She's a 4-drop 4k get trigger just like the other two. During opponent's turn, if on frontline, you may treat any of your draw or active abilities as get triggers. So you can treat your Asuka, your 0-drop Mari, your 1-drop Ray, and this Mari. You can treat these as get triggers. So now you can just play these out. It really comes in handy with like this Asuka, right? Because you can like play it, pop something on your board, and draw cards on your opponent's turn, or draw a card, stand as active to block with it, because it does come in rested. Because you treat it like a get trigger. So like this enables like lines that normally you couldn't do, or like say like you don't really want this as a draw trigger, so you just treat it as like a get trigger. Say you don't want an active trigger, you rather just have a body on board, you can do that too because it's a draw trash anyways. And then the next big effect on this Mari is when attacking, you may pay 1 AP. If you do, draw a card and then choose one other card on your board that's not named a Mari, switch it to active. So you can swing your 4-drop Ray and then swing Mari, pay an AP, draw a card, and switch this back out. So it's a multi-swing deck with this Mari, which is very strong. So if you're like looking at like what is the card you really hope your opponent doesn't kill but you want to protect, it's this 4-drop Mari. These Rays you can really let die because they can kind of spit out bodies. You can spit out the 2-drop Ray, buff itself, make it a 4k swing. Overall, I'm playing 3 finals because the only time you really need to extend it if you're playing multiple Asukas, and I wanted to fit in more of Rays. I'm only playing 10 zeros, but you have 3 1, you have 7 1s, and then you have a whole bunch of 2s and 3s. And then we're playing 4 specials. This special used to be very good when we had the 0-drop Asukas. Now you have to be careful when you're using this, because if you don't have the double, it's kill a 3k, kill a 5k, but you need Asuka. So if you don't have your double energy Asuka on the board and you don't have your 4-2, you're only killing a 3k. But most of the time you're going to pair it with play Asuka, kill a 5k, spit out a body, play what kind of idiot are you, kill another body, because this lets you, gives you the Asuka. Overall, I think this is a solid list. You can make really tweaks. You could like go down to 2 of this Ray to put your Masato up to 11. You can take out this Mari if you want, put in a 0, put in a 1. You can take out one of these, put in the other 4-drop Ray, which we can bring up here real quick. You can play this 4-drop Ray if you're really worried about Kenshin matchup. It's 4-drop 4k nullify impact. During your opponent's turn, this character can't be moved, returned to hand, or affected by BP reducing abilities. So this can just kind of free block all your opponent's impact negate Kenshin, or impact Kenshins, and just kind of do what you need to do. Other things you could be playing is this 2-drop Asuka. You can choose a character in your field, give it impact. So you could give your Mari impact, and then you can activate Asuka, give it impact. And then if you have this 2-drop Mari, make this a 5k. So against Spear, you can go 5k impact, your opponent doesn't do anything. Then you can go 5k impact, restand this 5k impact, and you can just kind of impact your way through the game. Other honorable mentions is if you want to play a 2-drop 3k stepper, you have this. But overall, the only other card I think I saw some people playing is this, which is pretty interesting. Choose one character in your opponent's front line, switch it to resting. If the chosen character doesn't have raid, you get to draw a card. So this kind of always gave you a hole into like boards that had bodies that were a little bit too big, and then you just have multi-swing to try and close out the game. When we're looking at our matchup spread, against Red Kenshin, you just want to kill the double attackers and the impactors, because you can kind of block with your rays when it comes to kill mode time, and then you can kind of wall up. Green Toshi, if they stun some of your bodies, you can literally just kill your bodies and play over them. Snipe's a little bit troublesome because they will just kill our Maris, kill our Asukas, and we can't really use the rays to block out. The mirror match, it's really who saw more Asukas usually, or more 4-drop rays, because those bodies are very sticky. Spear, you just need to make sure you're always holding on to your 2-drop rays, at least 1 in trash. So that way if they go like multiple impact, and say you have like 3 life and they have 3 impact, you can block the first impact with the 4-drop ray, get the impact negate ray out, and then you can block the next impact, and then they only have 1 more impact. That can give you a line to live. You just need to make sure you're looking at all your lines when you're doing this. Purple Willy, this deck kind of like destroys your 4-drop ray. Like I said before, it's like the one way you can remove a 4-drop ray and they don't get any card effects off. And then they also do have multi-swings like you have multi-swings, so it's kind of rough. Yuna, if they have a board full of like little bodies, it kind of sucks to play the 4-2 Asuka, especially if they like smile out a Kirito or Asuna, because you can't choose it with character ability, so you have to use your special on it. But I think it's really who saw a little bit of a better engine. Yuna searches a whole bunch. Yellow Girls is just a lot of draw power. And then against Red Eva, it's just kind of just save your removal for the big boy. The Red Rush deck, just kind of rush back and forth. Again, with the stun decks, you can kind of kill your own bodies, get them back active. Rush, you just survive the rush. You have the 4-drop rays, which are 4Ks, that if they kill it, spits out another body anyways. Saito, he's just going to do the same thing that GGO did. They're going to try and snipe you, but for you as the 4-drop, you just want to be looking for your Maris out of life or stuff like that, and just try to punish your opponent for snipe impacting you. Toguro, it's one of the other decks that can answer your 4-drops, but you can kind of flood the board and kind of put a lot of pressure on them. Mito, this one kind of sucks. Like, the Progressive's a hard matchup in my opinion, because they do have multi-swings, they do have damage too, and when we want to block with our 4-drop ray, they can lock you out with the double energy Mito plus minusing it. They can just say, hey, your 4-drop ray can't block, and that kind of robs us of the benefit of playing this deck. Like, this 4-drop ray is overall like one of the best cards that we have. Like, this card, it's just every turn it's a 4-drop 4K hitting your opponent in the face, going, hey, deal with it. Hey, deal with it. And if they deal with it, you spit out a 3K, and you're like, hey, deal with it. And most of the time, if you're playing the 2-drop Mario like me, you can turn it into a 4K, and then you're still just punching your opponent in the face with it. The big upside to playing this deck, if you really want to look into this deck and play this deck, is this 3-drop Masato. This card is very strong, letting you free play all your get triggers, so your life turns into bodies. So your opponent gets punished for playing the game, which is kind of weird. Like, because in UA, you're like, it's a get trigger, I'm fine. But with this deck, it's like, oh, it's a get trigger? You just put a 4K on the board for me. And if you put this Mari on the board, that's like, hey, you're getting 2 swings next turn. Hey, you hit this Ray? Okay, now you put a body on my board that is sticky to remove. Oh, you hit this Asuka? You hit this Asuka out of my life, I can rest something else, and this is a 4K blocker because it stands itself active, and I get to tap one of your other swigs down. Or I can actually add this to my hand because it is still a get trigger, and then play it next turn and show you that I'm going to blow up one of your bodies and play more. Overall, I think this deck is very well suited for our meta, and very well suited for the other EVA decks. You can work on like the little ratios that I did change. If we had the Asuka, these would be cut. I would go up to probably 3 Asukas here, and I would either go 4 of these 1-drop rays, or I'd cut one of the 1-drop rays and play one of these, like if we had the Asuka. Like this could be another rendition I can see people playing. Or you go down here and then play this, so you have 2 of these, so you have a total of 14 2Ks, or 14 4Ks, not 2Ks. But overall, I think this is a very solid deck, and it is a deck that can be very pretty. Every card besides the 0-drop Masato, yeah, just a 0, and then I guess the final and special can be alted. So like if you like to play a really pretty deck, there's an alt art for the 4-drop, there's an alt art for the 1-drop, there's an alt art for the 2-drop. All the 4-drops have 2 stars. There's a 2-star here. The 3-drop has an alt art. The Asuka has an alt art. The other Asuka has an alt art. And I think you kind of get the gist. Like if you want to play a deck that has girls and you want to play a lot of alt arts and you want to have a little bit of everything, you have multi swings, you have life triggers, you have impact you can give, you have not protection, but like sticky bodies is very good. And then both of these being starter deck alts is going to be kind of pricey. But overall, I think this is a very good deck into our current meta, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is in the top 4 or maybe even wins nationals. If you play it in LCQ, it is a very solid and consistent deck, and I can see you getting your invite into nationals to play for the trophies and to be the best of player for the year of 25 to 26. But alright, this is Legit Vocals, everybody, showing you Yellow Girls. Signing off. You guys have a wonderful day. See you tomorrow.